Pledging to retaliate, members of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces held a symbolic funeral for their fighters near Baghdad's Green Zone. They were killed in Monday's US airstrike in Al-Qaim district near the Iraqi border with Syria.
The rifles and drones of the resistance will mobilize now. The time has come to avenge the death of our heroes, including Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis.
There was a heavy security presence in the area. With patriotic songs and anthems, the protesters raised banners of what they call resistance. Military commanders of the Popular Mobilization Forces and political leaders say they want to convey a message to the international community.
Since Parliament passed a resolution, the presence of foreign troops in the country is unlawful. They've been here since 2014 and they have nothing to offer Iraqis but destruction.
These two men are accused of crimes against humanity and war crimes of murder. Jovica Stanisic and Franko Simatovic are former chiefs in Serbia's state security service. Both have pled not guilty to the charges in this years-long trial at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. In the 1990s, the two men created paramilitary groups like the Red Berets. They also backed other units like the Arkan Tigers. These groups were allegedly behind the massacre of hundreds of people in Bosnia and Croatia during the Balkan Wars. The indictment against them claims Stanisic and Simatovic organized, supplied, financed, supported, and directed the paramilitary groups that murdered Croats, Muslims, and other non-Serbs. The goal was to ethnically cleanse the region in order to establish a Serb-run state.
A Biafran separatist leader has been arrested and is being held in Nigeria's capital Abuja for trial, the country's justice minister said. Nnamdi Kanu leads the indigenous people of Biafra, whose leaders have called for the secession of Nigeria's southeastern region. Attempts to break away in 1967 under the name Republic of Biafra triggered a 3-year war in which more than 1 million people died, predominantly Igbo, mostly from starvation. IPOB, which was founded in 2012, has been labelled a terrorist organization by the Nigerian military, and Kanu's social media posts have been called incendiary amid rising violence across the southeast. In May, police launched an operation in southeast Nigeria to quell the rising violence, triggering fears of a return to war.
36-year-old Fabiola Campillay was walking to the bus stop to go to work when she was hit in the face by a tear gas canister. She was blinded for life. The police officer accused of the attack still hasn't been tried. Widespread charges of police abuse and misuse of power during and after demonstrations are among the many reasons why Chile's police force is being overhauled.
The police used to enjoy prestige here, but corruption scandals involving top-ranking police officers, cover-ups, attempts to plant evidence in a bid to secure convictions have cost respect for the police force, as you can see on the graffiti of these walls.
North Korean leader Kim Jong Un has blamed several top ruling party officials for lapses in the country's pandemic response, according to state media reports on Wednesday. State media agency KCNA reported that Kim pointed to several senior officials as the cause of a, quote, great crisis, which he said put the safety of the country and people at risk. The report did not elaborate on the nature of the crisis or how it put people at risk. Several government officials were also replaced during the meeting, but it's unclear whether the shakeup was related to the pandemic. North Korea has not officially confirmed any COVID-19 cases, a claim questioned by South Korean and American officials.
In other news, political crisis in Myanmar continues to intensify. Country's ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi suffered a legal setback on Tuesday when a judge denied her lawyer's stance to disqualify prosecution testimony against her on a sedition charge. The court, however, has said that it would allow the issue to be referred to the High Court and would suspend testimony until a ruling is issued. Ousted leader Suu Kyi, meanwhile, has asked the people of Myanmar to stay united against the oppressive military rule as legal tussle continues to mount on her. The message was passed on by her lawyer as she reappeared in a junta court for a trial on Tuesday.
Well, the clock is ticking, and the burning question now is whether or not the former president will hand himself over to authorities. Jacob Zuma has been given 5 days to hand himself over to the police to begin serving his 15-month jail sentence. Of course, that started counting down from yesterday after the ruling was made by the Crown Court. Now, speaking to the media yesterday, his son Edward Zuma vowed to protect his father from arrest, saying police would have to kill him first. Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association members say they will also protect Zuma. They plan to remain on guard outside the former president's home in Nkandla in KwaZulu-Natal.
Right, so pro-democracy protests in eSwatini have entered a fourth day now. The unrest continues despite a ban on marches imposed by the monarch. Campaigners, mostly the youth, began their protest on Friday, calling for political reform. They also want to elect their own prime minister. Political parties are banned from taking part in elections in the tiny kingdom. The king chooses the prime minister, cabinet, as well as top judges and civil servants. Some news reports have suggested that King Mswati III has actually left the country as a result of this unrest.